Welcome back to the Locker Room Report. I'm Japal Diol, joined as always by my co-host Matteo Sorgini. And today we have a special guest in the building, one of the biggest Leafs voices on Twitter. You know him by Rink Rat Report. Joseph, welcome to the pod.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Today we'll be breaking down game two between the Toronto Maple Leafs. And fellas, we're heading into Sunrise with a 2-0 lead. That is absolutely huge. So first off, I just want to start off with that fourth line, man. I thought that they were rough in game one, especially in that third period when Florida kind of made their push. But they came out flying tonight, and they had the first Leafs first quality chance. Mateo, how do you feel they bounced back, especially when they had the exact same matchup as they had in game one?
Oh, I thought they really were battling really well in the corners. They were playing really well defensively, like showing so much heart defensively. Like they were one of the lines that actually was the reason why the Leafs had almost nearly triple the amount of block shots as the Panthers.
Yep.
I thought that was huge and they showed so much passion defensively. They were very good in transition, which was something they really struggled with in the first game. And yeah, that's essentially my short take on them.
Yeah. And Florida, especially in that first period, two very undisciplined penalties. The Leafs almost that second power play of that in that first period almost felt like a must score for me after going 0 for 6 in the series. Joseph, what did you feel like as far as the man advantage goes? They're getting pucks in the offensive zone, but they're just not getting the goals. The pucks isn't falling like it did against Ottawa. What do you feel like they have to change, and what do you think they're doing well?
What do they have to change? The $1 million question. I mean, they did try it a few times with regards to they had a couple looks where it was Marner at the point, sent it through, tried to get with traffic in front, they get the tips going. I mean, we saw it. Marner to Tavares went on net. Matthew Knies was able to get the rebound. That one
Yeah,
didn't fall. But then you get the magical tip from Max Pacioretty.
yeah,
So I think they're going to continue to kind of look for the tips coming from the point there. But the real thing that I think is killer, I hate saying it because he's had two incredible games. He's the reason that they're up 2-0. William Nylander is holding on to the puck far too long in the
yeah,
offense on the power play. It's kind of killing plays. We even saw him overhandle it at one point. He had the Tavares screen. Bobrovsky wasn't able to see anything, and he went around the net. Like, you can't
yeah.
criticize. That's hypercritical there, but it's kind of a
Yeah,
symptom
I'm
of
on
what's
that
been
too.
happening. So move the puck a little bit more, and find when you have seams to the net, find the tips.
And you mentioned him a little bit briefly, Max Pacioretty. What a revelation he's been. He scores that massive power play goal, and that's three straight games at
Oh
the point
God,
for
yeah,
him. He's for me, he's just brought jump physicality, and now the offense is kind of
yep.
clicking for him. It's good to see a guy who honestly didn't know if his NHL career was going to continue, get a PTO in Toronto, and make the most of it. The second period, I thought started off really rough. Riley with the turnover, and then Marchand beats him. But the response by Nylander on the 2-on-1 Pacioretty, again, Pacioretty all over it, an unreal backhand pass to Nylander. He's got 7 points in 3 games, Nylander has. For you guys, what do you think he does better than the rest of the guys in the core that when this time comes around every year, he just seems to be the only one that elevates?
I'd say offensively, he's just like constantly like just opening up shooting lanes that are dangerous like scoring opportunities that are just very, very effective, and he constantly does it. He's always looking for that guy open. Yeah, like Joseph was saying that the like yeah, he's still holding onto the puck too long and he's got to work on that, but I think that'll Berube will get him in check, and that's a big part, and I think that was a big part in his development as well.
Yeah.
So,
Now, to be clear, it's on the power play he does that, but he's one of the few players. I don't even know if there's 10 in the league where the longer he holds onto the puck, the more offense he's actually able to create because he is such a good skater and he's so skilled. Like
Yeah.
that's a guy that's able to turn a nothing play into something because he has such great wheels and because he's such a skilled player. And on top and to boot, his shot is incredible
Unreal.
as well. And I mean, tonight you didn't even have to use it to score. Just
Yeah.
skate, stick, tip it in, whatever. They don't ask how many they don't ask. I fucked that up. So whatever. Skip.
Speaking of guys that stepped up, I thought that Scott Laughton in this game. He gets into it with Schmidt a little bit after hitting the back of Rodriguez. Have you guys ever seen a time where a guy gets sent to the locker room, but then also gets an embellishment call? Like, what did you guys make of that?
That was insane.
yeah, I didn't know what to make of that at all. I'd never seen anything like that, especially because, I mean, I thought it definitely should have been a penalty. I don't know if it should have been an embellishment. It's just because at the end of the day, it is a violent play. He had his back turned, he's defenseless.
Yeah, that's a charging, roughing, hit from behind, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
you
It
could
is. It
pick which one
was
you want to call
interesting.
there.
Yeah, and not to go unnoticed though. Evan Rodriguez went to the dressing room and came back 3 minutes later.
Yeah,
So, I mean, maybe the ref just has a way better eye than us, but
yeah.
that is the perspective of a Leafs fan, after all.
Yeah, and Joseph, I want to get your input on how important is it to have a guy like Laughton who brings the edge in a series like this, but also being born in this market, just understands what it takes to be a Maple Leaf.
I mean, if we want to go really cliche, sure. I like when you look at it, like he was a much better option at 3C than what they had pre-trade deadline.
Yeah,
And I mean that in terms of actual usage. So when you look at last year's series, who was your defensive line? Who was your heavy matchup line?
it was the
Where
camp line.
which they were terrible and they
Yeah,
got rinsed every single time they got put on the ice. Like,
yeah,
how many times did we complain last year? We score a goal, put the fourth line out there, and then they get scored
yeah,
on automatically. So now with Scott Laughton, you're actually, and Scott Laughton and Callie Yarncroft, not to go unnoticed. It seems
yeah.
like 2 seasons in a row we came in and went, oh, is he even going to make the team? Is he going to be on waivers? And then bam, he's on the team. He's actually had to change his usage a little bit more to be more defensive, but he's been solid. And Steve Lorentz, that was a PTO as well. Speaking of
Yeah.
Patch Ready, that was another PTO, and he's come in and he's been pretty good. That line did get shelled last game. I wasn't too happy
Yeah,
with Lawton losing his man on, I think it was the second, third goal,
it
whatever.
was the first one that went in on Joseph Woll.
Yes, correct. But I think they had a really good rebound this game. But I mean, Scott Lawton, he's solid. I mean, he's been solid. Physicality, hit, chip, chase, know your role.
And
I agree with that actually because well, you think about the Panthers game style, this team is built to beat you physically. That is their entire game plan, every single game. They want to get in your head and they want to do it fast. And if you can match that energy,
Yep.
you can easily do a really, really good job of executing plays.
and not to go unnoticed from that period is Domi gives the Leafs the lead. And that play started with Laughton at center ice, tying his man up at the dot, and then Riley hitting Lorentz, and Lorentz over to Domi. That's just the passion line. But both of Domi's goals in these playoffs have been game changers, right? And here's what I think separates this year's Leafs team from previous is that,
How about his assist?
yeah, no kidding.
Every time Max Domi touches the puck in a positive way, it changes the game.
Yeah. But the thing that separates this year's Leafs team from teams prior is that we saw in that Florida series, especially, I think it was game 2 on home ice where they took a lead and they kind of just, when Florida scored 1, they kind of rolled over a little bit. And they easily could have done the exact same last game where Florida scores 2 quick goals after all timeout, but really just Berube really was able to get the guys to calm down and understand that they're still playing from in front and to get back to their game. And another thing that separates this year's Leafs team from previous is that when Berube always spoke about, I want guys 1 through 22 on this roster to be important, you really start seeing it now in the playoffs where, he's really relying on everyone and everyone feels important.
That's a good call. The biggest thing I would say, I mean, Joseph Woll was okay in this one. The first goal was through the screen. Second goal, or third goal was backdoor. Second goal was off the turnover.
Yeah.
There, he was all right. Goaltending hasn't killed you so far in the playoffs. It's been okay. Which in previous years you've given up those pack breakers. But how about the defense?
Yeah.
The defense this year, and it's so noticeable comparing it to last year because how well they can actually handle the puck and how they can actually make a breakout pass and how they can actually move the puck out of their zone, as opposed to last year, you had nobody and Keefe had to make the best of what he had. So it was okay. We're stretching the zone. We're going glassing out every single time.
Yeah.
And we saw some turnovers from it. And not to say Leafs didn't turn over the puck today, namely, but the like Carlo, Tanev, McCabe, even Morgan Riley, even though he gets
Yeah.
caught here and there, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Those guys can move the puck up the ice, and it's helping them tremendously
Yeah.
compared to previous years.
Oh, like Ekman-Larsson, like that, he was the reason the second goal happened. Like if you see that, like
Yeah,
that was the entire reason Nylander scored. He made that nice, that
Yeah. The defensive stick.
great, yeah,
yeah,
defensive stick, great discipline. Jake McCabe, on the other hand, this guy is just a menace defensively. Like
yeah.
he's
Just
everywhere.
nails.
Like battling in front of the net, going after the puck, blocking shots. He's just so much passion. Something that you wouldn't have seen in the typical Leafs defenseman in the past couple of years.
And I just want to put a quick highlight on Chris Tanev. He was the player of the game for me. He was everywhere. Early in that third period, he cleared one off the line.
Yep.
And then even took a massive hit by Verhaeghe, but stayed in the game. Like this guy is just the definition of nails. But another person I wanted to kind of touch up on was Knies. Again, man, I thought he was good. He was good in this one, and for me, he was the most noticeable on that top line. I know that Marner gets the goal, but again, it's Knies net front. So what have you seen from Knies that just makes him so trustworthy in these big playoff games, and he never seems to shy away from the moment?
To me, he's more so playing to what his play style is. Like he's a big body, soft hands, not exactly the quickest guy, but not a bad skater, I
Yeah,
would say. So instead of trying shit that he was able to get away with in Minnesota or trying to do too much with the puck on his stick, it's chip, it's chase, use your ginormous ass, put it into their hands,
yeah,
take the puck, make passes, and get to the net. And I mean,
yeah,
how about today? We saw the chicken wing coming out, the
yeah,
chicken wing in front of the
yeah.
net.
The
He
screen, yeah,
Oh
knows
yeah,
his
yeah.
role. He knows what he is. He's not going to be able to, like, Mitch Marner can hold on to the puck longer than he can. But
yeah,
Mitch Marner's not going to be able to, like, Mitch Marner is not as big as he is. He's not going to be
yeah,
able to impose himself in front of the net like Matthew Knies is. So to me, it's understanding, it's experience also. Like,
yeah,
to be real, like last year, if you guys remember, there was a goal in Boston off of faceoff at the very, very end of a period where him and Simone Benoit, two guys that are on the team right now, just got mixed up at the point, and it
yeah. It
was a
was the
wide open
Pasternak
puck.
one.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
the
I
Pasternak goal.
remember that
We're
goal.
seeing less of those brain farts because just a little extra
Yeah,
experience, maybe a different voice helps them out as well, different kind of system too. So Matthew Knies, knowing what to do at the NHL level.
yeah. And I know that this is Mateo's favorite Leaf, so I'll let him get into it.
Oh, yeah, I think it's just his mentality is just something that cannot be like kind of undervalued. This guy just he plays way older, like, and he has way more experience than what his actual age is. He plays with so much grit and toughness, something that you wouldn't expect at somebody his age.
Yeah,
Um, like he's not afraid to lay the body, goes after every puck in the corner, constantly creates plays for his teammates. He's everything you want in your typical left winger.
yeah. And another thing I want to touch on is Joseph Woll, man. Like leading before game one, he hadn't played in 18 days, and I thought that especially in that third period, it's the save of the playoffs for me. The full split toe save on Sam Oskevich at the right post there when Schmidt is right in the slot
Oh
and he
my
pump
God.
fakes. Just the timing and the athleticism to get over, like that's a game saver for me, and that's the save of the playoffs.
Oh, that was phenomenal.
How many guys at 6'4" can bend like that
Yeah,
and
and
skate like that? Like that was
Me
incredible.
if
He
I'm wrong,
looked
but
nervous,
that was on a 4-on-1 if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
something like that. It was a terrible breakdown, but
and how
whatever.
many teams in the league, like for the Leafs, we see him as a backup. How many teams in the league would kill for this guy to be the starter, right? Like True Living
Oh,
truly deserves his flowers because I don't think there's a single True Living addition that we couldn't live without.
Ryan Reeves.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're living without him right
Yep.
now.
David
Um,
Camp too. Well, he was a re-sign, but
yeah, he was a resign. Um, just again,
but you're gonna make mistakes as a GM. I mean,
yeah, but he hasn't had many misses. Like Klingberg, we can look at, and it's like, but we were able to move past that, and
His hips exploded on him, but
yeah, and he made one hell of a decor. Again, want to shout out the decor. That 6-on-5 kill. Did the Panthers get a shot on goal for that entire 2.5 minute 6-on-5?
I don't know if they were credited with one.
I don't think so.
McCabe was clearing pucks. Tanev was eating pucks. Benoit, OEL, all dishing in. And even the fourth
Oh,
line got caught out there when they first pulled their goalie with Riley Carlo, and those guys just
Yeah.
battled. I think this was one of the best 6-on-5s that I've seen from this team all year, and it's the thing that Berube's been preaching. This team is now 41-1 after leading two periods.
there's one thing I wanted to add to that specifically, like that point in the game. Like Matthew, you guys watched the game. Like Matthews was offensively, I wouldn't say he was a non-factor, but he wasn't like as good as he usually is.
He wasn't the Austin
But
Matthews come to expect.
defensively, this guy was a game changer the whole game.
Yeah.
Like uh, he like that's what you need in your core guys. Like if they can't impact offensively, they have to find other ways to impact the game.
And I thought that he's been doing that all playoffs, right? Like, obviously, he shoots one in the net in game six against Ottawa, but how much of that is just all Mark making a whiff, right? For me, offensively, man, like I saw it in game one where I think he's just gripping the stick a little bit too tightly. He's trying to be too perfect with his shots, and he's missed the net more this year than I think I've seen ever out of him. But like you said, he has a tough matchup in the Barkov line. I think that for playing the Barkov Reinhardt line, they're doing pretty well. I think they're winning their minutes as far as chances go and stuff like that. But overall, we're heading into Sunrise up 2-0. For the both of you, what's the biggest thing Toronto needs to do to close this series out, or to even get a stranglehold on it when you don't have the advantage of the line matchup?
Quite simply, goalie needs to stop the puck. Special teams, you need to win. To put it very, very simply. And then on top of that, I mean, your depth has to find a way to contribute somehow in this in these games, in the away
Yeah,
games, really. And it's going to be very difficult because you now don't have last change. So I like, if they go 0 points in these next two games, but it's 0-0 for them, and like your steady kind of chances for and against,
yep,
I think that's a win.
yeah. You take
And
that
then
every
your
time.
top guys got to, yeah, your top guys got to take care of business. So the depth is really going to be, especially that Laughton line, is really all eyes on them.
And Bobrovsky has looked extremely human this series. Not the same guy that we played two seasons ago. And again, I think credit to the Leafs. They're doing a lot more to get pucks in his eyes or bodies in his eyes and take away his sight.
Well, it's interesting though, because if you remember, when the year in 2023 when the Leafs beat Tampa, it was, we beat Vasilevsky on screens. He couldn't see through screens,
Yeah,
which was true.
As a Tampa fan, yeah, this is very factual.
It was Ryan O'Reilly in front of the net, John Tavares in front of the net. Mitch Marner had how many, 5 goals, whatever, all from distance because Vasilevsky couldn't see the puck. They got to the Panthers series. Like, we do have to kind of take a step back and remember, this is a stupid game played where guys, 11, 12 guys on the ice, 10 skaters are wearing knives on their feet on a frozen surface in an encaged kind of playing surface, chasing around a little rubber disc. There's going to be a lot of randomness in NHL games. And that's where, like, yeah, they didn't get the best end of the stick against Florida. Like they also didn't get some of the bounces that they're getting right now. Like the PDO monster, it feels great, and it feels like you're doing everything right on the way up, and on the way down, it feels like you can't do a single thing right. But there's that medium.
Yeah, and again, can't reiterate enough how important it is for this Leafs team to be playing in as many one goal games and close checking games all regular season in preparation for this moment. I feel a lot more comfortable, especially when Florida's putting the pressure on and near the end of the game when they're pushed a little bit more, because I've seen this before. Um, just how, as far as going into Sunrise, we're going into their building. I again wanted to touch on. I thought the Leafs crowd was unbelievable tonight. I thought that Scotiabank Arena was bumping, and I thought it was loud. But how important is it when you go into an opposing building to understand your structure? Because we've seen it before with Leafs teams, especially where they play a different game when they're on the road.
Oh, I think like like kind of like we were talking about before, JP, they kind of just, even if they just go like one goal down or two goals down, they just have to keep their composure. And Berube just does such a good job at doing that. He keeps these guys focused no matter the situation that they're in, and they're never out of a game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you really you nailed that down. I think that again can't say enough good things about Craig Berube and what he's done to this hockey team. Well, as far as we go, that is a wrap on this edition of the Locker Room Report. Thank you to our guest Joseph from the Rink Rat Report. Make sure you follow and check them out, and we will be back for Game 3.